What's up guys, this is Computer Mobile Care here. So today we're going to be working on a MacBook Air 13-inch. The problem with this is the PP3 V3. As you can see on the computer there's a little gluey stuff there to the left on the keyboard itself. So that came off from the motherboard. So we have to replace that chip in, and then is when the keyboard and the mouse is going to work, because the touchpad so far and the keyboard doesn't work at all. So once you replace that PP3 V3 chip, it's gonna work. The mouse, the keyboard is gonna work. So this is the board that we're gonna work on. It's a little blurry, but you'll see under the microscope how it looks like. Alright, so that's the area that it came out from. So you see that pad is moving a little bit, but it's still good. It's not broken, and we don't want to break it. So we're gonna leave it just the way it is there, and we're just gonna look for the chip on a donor board. So I have a donor board. It's a So this is the schematic for the motherboard. So we're gonna be looking what this controls, what this the PP3 V3 controls. On other MacBooks, you have issues, whereas the PP3 V3 hot doesn't make the MacBooks turn on. In this case, it doesn't allow the keyboard nor the touchpad to work. So we're gonna flip the board, and we're gonna look at the schematics for it and see what really is going on there. So I'm looking in the wrong area. Well, I'm kind of in the right area, but I wasn't too sure, so I had to make sure on the board. So that's it right there. It's the U8010. That's the chip name on the board schematics view, and that's what all the pins control there. It's on the PP3 V3 line, so anything on the PP3 V3 line is always a problem. See how many stuff this one pad alone controls. So this has to be replaced back properly, or else it won't work. So that's the ground pad. That one controls a lot of stuff. So that one is a big one there. And that's the chip U8010 on the MacBook Air 13-inch. So this is the donor board, and as you can see, the glue part is what broke off on the actual board, and it pulled out that chip. So that's why we have to replace it. So I'm gonna take the glue off first from this donor board to get the chip. So I'm gonna apply some heat, and that's gonna take off the glue. That's it, the glue came off. So now we're gonna put some flux around the chip to get it hot and easy to come off. And the airflow, I put it on like around 3, and the heat temperature, I put it around 420, and that should melt the solder off so that you could take off the chip. So this is the board that I'm going to be replacing that chip on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the flux to it. I'm going to add some solder onto this board so that when I take off the chip from the donor board and put it onto the the working board, um it's gonna contact properly with the pads. So I'll be adding some solder onto these pads here, and I will try our best not to make that one pad on the top left break because it was shaking earlier. You could see that it was shaking. That should be good there. Looks good so far. Solder has been added to the pads, so we'll clean this off with some alcohol. It's 99% alcohol, so it's the isopropyl Mg chemicals alcohol. Cleans the board off and doesn't really leave like a water resistant on it, so it dries off rapidly. Because we don't want to corrode any other capacitors on the board. Like with the some of the alcohols have 70% alcohol and the rest is basically water. So it kind of corrodes the ICs then when you finish cleaning it. But with this one here, it cleans it and don't corrode the other ICs and capacitors and stuff like that. Alright, so now we're gonna add some flux onto this chip here, the U8010, and we're gonna take it off with the heat gun. So we're heating the U8010 up there right now. Takes a little while to come off. You just gotta keep the heat gun on it until you see like the solder is melting around. Like you could see those other solders are melting. Then is when you take it off. Still not hot enough to take it off. well, while I'm taking it off, I might as well see if I could take off that glue there. But it doesn't really matter to take that off. Should be hot enough right about now. Okay, still not hot enough. Good, now it's hot enough. It came off perfectly there. So now we're gonna put it to the working motherboard that we're going to fix. So we're gonna clean it up a little bit, clean up the U8010. We're gonna clean it up with some alcohol, make sure no flux is on it, and then we're gonna add some flux onto the motherboard and put it on there. Now with the MacBook Air 13-inch, this issue, if you ever have this issue, It's better if you could check on the motherboard and see if that specific U8010 chip is damaged or it's cracked or something like that, or if it came off, because normally Apple glues these chip down. So if you make your computer fall, stuff like this, or it hit with impact, it normally takes out the whole thing. Like the chip comes out with the glue. So you have to replace it. Once you replace it, you're good to go. You don't have to change the keyboard, the touchpad, because you're just going to be wasting time. So as you can see on the chip right now, the solder ball looks good. So we're just going to be cleaning it up, and we're going to add some flux onto the motherboard, and we're going to replace it. So I'm going to hold it down with the tweezers, and I'll be cleaning it with the alcohol. Make sure it's nice and clean before we put it on there, or else it won't contact properly with the board, and we're gonna have the keyboard and touchpad don't work still. So we want to make sure we do everything correct right here, right now. So when we put it on back to test it, it works perfectly fine, and we just close up the computer. So now we're gonna add the flux there, and we're gonna put that chip there. Now on that U8010, you could see that it has a dot to the bottom of it. You have to make sure you put it back in the same position that you take it off, or else it could make the touchpad and our keyboard work. So it's important to make sure that that dot on the U8010 chip be placed back in the correct position that it was taken off. So on this one here, because the board is facing downwards, the dot is on the right side bottom, the bottom right side. Now we're gonna heat it up back at 420 degrees. That's the temperature, and we're gonna put it on probably the airflow at 4, because the last time took a little while to heat up. You're gonna put it at a good distance so that you don't blow away the chip. Or if you guys like, you could put it at 3 back so that you don't blow that chip away, because the chip could get blown away with the airflow at 4. But I had mine at a distance, so it didn't blow away the chip. So when you're heating this up, because the solid ball is good, and they add some solder also to the pads, it would move by itself into place. The chip would move by itself into place, but I just wanted to make sure that it went in place. That's why I tapped it a little bit, and it moved, and it was in place. So the solder ball was heated enough to connect, so that's all good. While I'm at it, that looks a little disgusting, so I'm gonna take it off. So it clears that part off there now, and looks more good. We're gonna clean the board off with some alcohol. Then we're gonna go ahead to turn on the computer to test it, to make sure that the keyboard and touchpad works. Also, if you guys are watching this video, hope you leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Really much appreciate it, so that you guys could see more videos on how to fix these MacBook problems, PS5, HDMI ports, all gaming consoles, phone, all iPhones repair, and a whole bunch of other stuff. There's a lot more stuff to come to this channel. So we're cleaning this off with the alcohol. We're gonna blow it out a little bit, make sure it's good. Just gonna double check and make sure that it's clean. Yep, looks oops, can't find it. Okay, there it is. It's clean. Looks ready to go back on the computer to test. So that's it. We're turning it on. And looks like the keyboard is working. Yep, you can move the touchpad. The keys are working, so it's all good there. Enjoy. Thank you.